Hey, great Sunday morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Cesar Mascoro Jr. and Sebastian over there. Coming to you live this Sunday morning with our 15 minutes to mastery. Yes, it's another soccer weekend tournament for both Sebastian and Cristian. Both of them had two games yesterday. Got another game today and possibly championship games. Um, and just coming to you with our 15 minutes to mastery, as always, to be able to just get your day started off right, especially on a Sunday, right? Sunday, we want to take that moment to figure out what went right, what went wrong the past week, and how we can avoid it or how we can double up on the successes this coming week, right? That's what it's all about, is just making progress. Progress is where everything lies. And that's actually what we're talking about today in on our Sunday recharge, which is progress. Okay, because when you're making progress, well, there's an opposite force to that, right? Which is regression, going backwards. And this all stems from yesterday. I got to share something with you guys. Last night, we were at a church celebration for the first year anniversary of our church. And one of the speakers who came up and gave a quick little sermon was talking about how there are opposing forces in life. And I can't help but when I start hearing all these, you know, sermons and biblical prophecies, how much it just goes hand in hand with what we talk about in business, right? How much a lot of this goes hand in hand with what you'll hear uh, all successful people talk about, right? Motivational people, what they talk about. And what I mean by that is the the topic last night that he was talking about is how in life you thought about how when things are rolling, things are going, and you're just making progress in life, and you just seem to be on it, and then you run into obstacles. Things happen, right? Because there's an opposing force to progress, and then that opposing force will engage in what you're doing in order to slow you down or even knock you off completely, because that's what its purpose is. That's why it's an opposing force, right? Well, when you think about in business, it's the same thing. When you're rolling, you've got momentum. When you talk about sales, right? I've been in this. I've had it happen to me twice in manufactured home sales over the last 14 years that I was doing it, where you're just rolling, man. You're going. You got this pipeline. It's incredible. Things are moving forward the way that you want them to go, and then your whole pipeline just seems to just fall apart. People canceling, just something happens, they don't get approved, or they're approved but then they make a wrong decision and their approval gets rejected. um, Family talks about just all everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and the pipeline just falls apart. And this was back in the day where I wasn't the constant learner that I am now, and I still wasn't completely in the mindset that I am now. So even back then, when I stopped to think about it, back then I really wondered, what am I doing wrong? What is going on here? What am I messing up? And now come back to think about it. Well, it just didn't really mess anything up. It just happens, man. It happens that way. It happens in life. Life comes at you hard, and part of it is that opposing force. Part of it is what you go through when you are being successful, when you are on a roll. You're just going to have those moments where you run into roadblocks and you run into setbacks in your career, in your business, in your pipeline. And you have to be prepared for it. And how do you become prepared for it? The best way to be prepared for it is to be the type of person that is continuously growing, continuously improving, learning from the mistakes of the past. And so that way, here's what happens. When you're the type of person who continues to feed your mind, feed your spirit, feed your soul, and continues to grow, continues to learn, you don't stop. You don't feel like I know it all. Or maybe it's not even that you think you know it all. It's just you think you're at a point in your life where you no longer have to learn. That's what a lot, that's the difference, right? Is some people reach that point where they think, I really don't have to learn anymore. I don't have to improve anymore because I got it. They kind of coast on autopilot, so to speak, right? But that's the worst place that you can be. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you're a person who's continuously attacking the day, attacking every task with urgency and moving forward and continuously growing, getting better, when you do hit those setbacks, not if, but when you do, you're going to be not just better prepared to be able to deal with them, but you're going to be in a state of momentum. You're going to be in this state of productivity that it doesn't affect you as much. And it could be a devastating thing. It could be something huge that happens in your life, but you're able to put it in perspective and realize that there's only certain things that you can control, some things you can't control. And so, yes, are you stung by it? Do you get maybe take a step back because you got unexpectedly punched in the gut? Sure. But when you're a person that is of growth mindset, when you're a person that's continuously learning, when you're a person who continuously pushes forward and attacks everything with urgency, that setback doesn't last as long as it normally would for most people, because those people who just are on autopilot, on cruise control, that aren't growing, aren't learning, aren't continuously feeding their mind, aren't acting with urgency, when you get hit and setback, the setback really takes an effect. You get in a state almost where you're paralyzed, and things just keep, you start stacking the losses. One thing happens, then another thing happens, then another thing happens, then another thing happens, and then it gets to the point where you feel like you can't even pull yourself out of it. Now, does that happen to everyone? No, it doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to a lot of people. It happens to more people than you realize. And there's also less people of the ones that I described that we should be, which is a growth mindset, continuously learning, and always operating with urgency. There's even less people of those. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've operated in full urgency mode until April of 2023. That's when I started Manufactured Home Sales Mastery. I don't I'm well, I'm going to take that back. Not that I don't think that I ever operated with the complete sense of urgency that I do now. I know that I didn't. I can be man enough to admit that I did not. And there would be times where I'd get called out for it. I would get called out for it and I didn't like it. I thought I was. I tried to convince myself that I was when I really wasn't. Now looking back at it, I really wasn't. So to my former employer and my former boss, Rich Krebs, if you're out there, man, and you watch this, thank you. Thank you for kicking me in the ass all those times. And yes, you're right. I wasn't being as urgent as I should have been. And now I know the difference, because now this depends on me solely. And there isn't a day that I don't operate with urgency. There isn't a day that everything has to get done today. Right now, I need the answers, because there is no cavalry coming to save us, folks. You have to save yourself, and you have the opportunity to do it. You just need to be that type of person. Learning to be that type of person who is continuously growing, all right, who is of growth mindset, who is continuing to improve, and who operates with urgency. You're still going to have issues. You're still going to have problems. There's still going to be obstacles that come along the way, but you're going to be able to move through them. You're going to be able to circumvent them. You're going to learn from them so that they don't happen again. And if they do, you know how to get through them even quicker. Because right now, folks, right now, it's I'm not even going to call it a chess match, right? You got a 10-year-old son who loves chess, so I'm not, that's why I reference it. But I'm not even going to call it a chess match. What I'm going through building this company, it's really just bobbing and weaving, man, zigging and zagging. When something doesn't go the way I'm just continuously thinking, how can we move forward? How can we get around this? How can we overcome this? How can we keep going? We just got to push forward. We just need to get through tomorrow. We need to get through today into tomorrow. And then tomorrow's another day. And tomorrow's another day. And tomorrow's another day. Until we get to the point where now it's a smoother ride. Still problems coming up, but now we're able to deal with them differently. And that's the same for you, folks. That's the same for you. You have the same opportunity, even if you don't own your own business. If you're a sales consultant at a retailer or community in manufactured home sales or whatever it is that you do, even in your own personal life, you don't have to be, I tell you all the time, you don't have to be in sales to tune into this, because it applies to life as well. You just need to be the type of person who keeps pushing forward and learning from your mistakes. But you've also got to be, you can't just be the person that things are happening to. You have to attack life. You have to go about life with urgency. You have to go about life growing. You have to you have to go about life continuously learning and challenging yourself. I'm never going to speak to you about things that I don't do in my own life or that don't apply in my own business or life or family life, right? You have to continue to challenge yourself so that when you do hit the roadblocks, you don't freak the heck out. That's why people freak out, because they're not the kind of people who challenge themselves, so they don't get put in these situations, or when they do get put in these situations, they don't know how to deal with them because they don't continuously challenge themselves so that they can prove to themselves that they can get through things. Because if you're the kind of person who doesn't challenge yourself and you hit a roadblock in life, whether it's you can't pay bills, you can't do whatever it is, something happened, you're not freaking out because you know that you're going to be able to get through it because you've challenged yourself continuously, right? And right now, like I tell you, that's what I'm doing with our 17-year-old. I'm telling him, hey, you're about to graduate high school. You need to get a job. And it's nothing else but for him to understand that he needs to continue to challenge himself. Very proud of what he's done, and I'm super supportive of what he's trying to accomplish. But it doesn't change the fact that you got to learn life skills, and that's what I tell him, man. You got to get the job, and you got to balance work, and you got to balance what you want to do and what you want to learn and what you want to become. You got to add that on top of it. Oh yeah, and by the way, while you're in school, you got to add school too, because it's only going to make you better. So that later on down the life, when you're 27, 37, 47, 57, and you got your own family and you're running into issues, you're not freaking out, you're not panicking, you're the steadfast force that pulls your family through. But it all started with what he did when he was 17. That's the whole purpose behind it. So I tell you guys the same thing. Continue to grow, continue to challenge yourself, continue to learn, and continue to act with urgency. Because life, as great as life can be, there are always opposing forces that will get in the way. And the more that you are that type of person that I just described, the quicker, the easier, the smoother you will run through those obstacles, run through those walls, overcome those setbacks, jump over those hurdles. And they're not going to throw you off your game. You're not going to panic, and you're not going to sink. You may drink a little bit of water when you're drowning there and grasping, trying to get up above water. You may drink a little bit of water, right? But you're not going to drown. You guys have a great Sunday, man. Go out there and kill it. We're going to go kick some butt, right, Sebastian? Yes. Yeah, we're going to go kick some butt today, this morning. And then hopefully make our way over to church in time, spend a little time there with church family as well. You guys have a great Sunday, man. Go on out there, plan out your week, make it the best week yet. And if there's any way that we can be a part of helping you improve, please feel free to reach out. And as always, I can't wait to meet you.